Hey guys, let me know if it's working. I'm kind of set up a very ghetto-y rig here with a bit of a light so I don't look like a zombie. And want to know if you guys can see. It's the first time I'm vlogging or live streaming, sorry, from the studio. So yeah, welcome back to live streams on Wednesdays. Finally, live stream number 51. So this is the first one in the studio. Crossing my fingers, my network and my battery will last. I charge my phone, but never done a whole hour live streaming using network. There's no picture now. I have to put something on this one too, but today, as I told the people on Patreon, I have a ton of pictures to flatten. I have more here. I have more here. So you guys are going to be joining me while I flatten prints. Comments come and go. So nice to see you. Let me see. Layton, Hogarth, Funzi, and How. So yeah, I have a little bit of a ring light, so I feel like Madonna right now, but it's just part of it. So I've got my heat press here to my right, which might be the other way around, and just going to be pressing prints meanwhile. Magnetic white, let me see, whiteboard, stick the images up with magnets. Yeah, I should do something. I'm thinking of thumbnails, thumbtacks, and just putting them on the wood. I can always change the wood as I work with wood. So yeah, these are the images of the Kickstarter, which have been here for way too long, waiting to press them, but I haven't had the time during the weekends and haven't had much time during the week. So that's why today for 1 hour, I'm gonna be here pressing pictures down. So if you see I'm looking the other way, it's because of that. And that way I can be multitasking. But yeah, it's been interesting weekend, I have to say. I'm sorry I haven't done the news in 2 weeks, basically. But yeah, the joy of fiber paper. I got the phone on a stabilizer, so hopefully it won't be too wonky while I'm pressing down and up. Hey Oscar, nice to see you. How says, I just found my selenium tone prints this morning before going out to shoot. Tone prints, let me see. Oh, this thing just disappears. Tone prints look beautiful. How, I'm glad you're enjoying the tone prints. I'm enjoying printing again. I'm just not enjoying the flattening. I'm doing large batches of prints, mostly because the idea is to send them to Kickstarters and open them as something you guys or someone else can purchase on Print Store. And so far it's being a lot of work. Here is a picture that was flattened a little bit ago. I don't know if you can see it with all the reflection. This is a 6x12 of my kids running into the water undressed, but you can't see too much. And this is 6x12 handheld with a horseman, just so you can see how much fun a camera like this can be. The other day I shot a whole video on it, and I got to do the intro and such. So hopefully that will be coming onto the store soon. Not the kids' pictures, because I think those are inappropriate to sell. But yeah, the real Sir Robin, nice to see you. I'm forgetting my prints inside the press, which is never a good idea. When you press them, they always come out a little flat, a little curled, and then they come back down. So just take it in mind. I press them in 2 different presses. Also, this is 8x10 shots. They look a little darker. They're not that bad in real life. But yeah, this is 8x10, what I've been working on mostly lately. I'll be doing a video on the current 8x10 setup as soon as possible. But for now, I'm just trying to flatten these images. 6x12 Robin is extremely interesting. It's a camera that I never thought I would be using to shoot around. It's basically a little less panoramic than the X-Band, which I had and found a little too much for my liking. So the 6x12 format is a little shorter. At the end, it's a 2x1, so It's like two 6x6 shots together. It gives a nice aspect ratio. This is printed on 8x10 paper, and it's a little smaller. But I want to print it a little bigger. But that would be for my house because, you know, you don't want to have undressed children on YouTube. Do you know an Italian large format maker, Stenopeka? Do you recommend the cameras of him or the Intrepid? I do know Stenopeka, not personally, never had his cameras. They look interesting, that's for sure. Not the usual stuff you see when large format cameras are being built. They do look a little weird to get used to using. He's come out with some technical cameras that are interesting. Also the inexpensive version, the Hyper 4x5. But not that I would not recommend him, but I think probably Intrepid has a lot more market and a lot more users out there that can say if it's being good or bad. I've used the Intrepid and I can say it's pretty fun. It does require some previous knowledge, I feel, more than other cameras that are a bit easier to handle. So not that I don't recommend, but yeah, both of them are pretty good to start off in terms of price. But remember, the cheaper the camera, usually the more careful you gotta be. It doesn't always have to be like that, but it's a little bit like that. So let me see, next batch. I do like 30 seconds of flattening, which I don't know if that's right. How flattening prints is like scanning film, too much time consuming. Exactly, that's why I'm doing this with you guys right now. Do you have a video about the camera on the channel, Robin? No, the 6x12 camera, not yet. I recorded and shot through Bilbao the other day at the Guggenheim and stuff. Shot 4 rolls, which is 24 shots. And I need to record basically the voiceover because there was a lot of wind and I couldn't do proper voice that day. But that video should be out probably in a few weeks, considering my backlog. I have a ton of backlog for videos. Layton says, I have a hot press, but I am using a massive stack of 70s photography books. Yeah, that would be probably easier for me. It's just the amount of prints I have to flatten is a little ridiculous. So I'll be doing like 10 prints and then going back again. Intrepid Mark III is ready, by the way. I did see that on their story. I hope to get my hands on one of the Mark III ones. It looks pretty promising considering the price point's the same. They managed to separate the movements of the front standard very much like the Chamonix F2. And the back standard has a bit of movement. And there's a few other things. There's now a proper spring clamp for the back, which was a thing that concerned a lot of people. And yeah, there's more things in there, which is nice. Tripod plate, like a real tripod plate, not just a screw on the wood, which doesn't have to be a wrong way to do it. A lot of brands have it like that, but I guess people were concerned about that and they improved it. So let's see. Going for the next batch. This is actually all pictures of the Intrepid team, which I'm shipping some to the Intrepid team. So if anyone on Intrepid is watching now or later, prints are going your way soon. Let me see. Robin, cool. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, Robin, the 6x12 camera is actually not mine. It's a loan. So the idea was to shoot it as soon as possible and ship it. It's been with me a year, so I'm a little behind the clock on that one. But yeah, it's a pretty fun camera. It's coming with a 45mm, which is pretty wide for 6x12. I think there was a 35 that also covered, or a 38 XL. But usually the most wide lens mounted was a 45. So we'll see how that goes. Sorry I have to pop my finger. I just can't see. All messages are visible. Let me see. How do I do that? Sorry, I'm trying to... Okay, let's see. The bottom of us. I have a Mamiya RB67 and I just bought a polarizer filter. How can I know how much light I need to compensate? Polarized filters, from what I've used, I think is a stop, but it's been a while after that. You should look at the code on the filter. Usually it has number and an X, and that is usually the amount of light you have to give, extra light. So if it says 2X, it's 1 stop. If it says 4X, it's 2 stops, if I'm not wrong. This, I highly recommend you look around a little bit more, research, because I'm totally saying this by memory, and it's been a long time since I grabbed the polarizer. Someone was asking if I have a spot meter. Let me see. Oh, you're probably asking a lot of us, do you have a spot meter or a camera with TTL metering? Yeah, that's the easiest way to compensate. You basically use a camera with a light meter with a normal scene or an indoor scene without the filter, take notes, and then put the filter, even just with your hand, and meter, and that should give you the amount of compensation you should be doing. So yeah, that's how I think would be probably the best way to do that. I have a lot of archival plastic binder stuff here. If you guys ever want to do, I could do one of those videos where I go through my negatives. This 2014 second binder. I usually shoot around 2 binders a year. And you have, I guess 2014 was the year of Leica, because everything here is Leica except for a few medium format, but very rare medium format. You guys can see it's all in here. Not full, but almost. But yeah, I use these binders which keep the dust off, which is pretty nice. They're from, they used to be from Print File, and then they were from, I don't know which one's the last brand, Viewall or something like that. But yeah, they work pretty good. Okay. Stuart says, headed to Munich, then Malaysia, then Chengdu. Any photo ops leaving my X-T2 at home, film only? I'm not familiar with any of the zones you're going to or the places, but there's always places to shoot. I spent my weekend in Geneva and actually met with Oscar, who's here on the live stream, I think, right now, who is the maker of the Panamicron Oxygen camera, which is that X-Band-ish. I say it like that because it's, I guess, the closest resemblance is to an X-Band because of the format. It's shooting panoramics on 35. And we shot a roll with his camera, and then we shot some B-roll of the camera, so I'll be doing a video on that. I shot most of my T-Max 3200 during this weekend, so we'll see. And Geneva is actually really small, the center, and very pretty, and there was a lot of sun, so there's a lot of contrasts and stuff, so I think that'd be cool. Oscar's website, if you want to check results, is panamicron.com. I can't type because I'm on my phone, but P-A-N-O, M-I-C-R-O-N. Sorry, I'm terrible at spelling live. Let me see. Science of Photography. On my B60 polarizer for Hasselblad, it says minus 1.5, which means 1.5 stops compensation. There's probably a filter factor on the filter itself. Exactly. It's usually on the filter. And it's a very generic rule. And if I'm not mistaken, 2x is 1 stop, 4x is 2 stops, 3x is like a stop and a bit, and such. Okay, so these prints are all on the first round. Now let's do the second round. So you see how it came out a little bit more curved, and then it'll end up a bit flatter. I feel like fiber prints never end up 100% flat, but I do my best to try to get it 100% flat. So I do 2 rounds. I could probably do 3 too. This dry press is so hard to close that every time I close it, I move the whole table. KL is great for street. Check out, check out brick fills at the large market area. Watch for pickpockets though. My wallet got stolen, lost about $20, so no major, just annoying. yeah, you guys want to be careful with wallets. Google filter factors for corrections. You should dry mount your fiber-based prints. I would do that, science of photography, but the problem is the dry mounting stuff is like impossible to buy in Spain. So considering that Spain is already hard for most things, I'm just not gonna go that route. I wish I could, honestly. I really wish I could, but dry mounting is so hard to find here. You can't find the heat things, and you can't find the backing stuff, the paper to dry mount. If you guys have never seen the dry mount, usually it's like this museum quality paper that you can kind of like burn the paper on, and it kind of glues on, but it's like archival, so it doesn't affect your prints. And it's pretty cool if you can buy it, but you can't really buy it here in Spain, or at least I haven't been able to find it. What I do is I flatten them as much as possible, and by that, let me show you some that are flat. Like this print is pretty flat to me. This was the 6x12. And then this I'll mount on matte paper, like, how do you call it? Oh, how do you say it? Passepartout in Spanish. You know, the board, the foam board, cardboard, whatever thing that you cut in an angle, and I frame them. One day I'll show you work on how I frame, which I don't know if it's interesting to anyone, but I'll share it. Probably not the best guy framing, but I do enjoy it. Layton carried 2 wallets, one with major stuffed cards and not well hidden, one with like $20 equivalent in rigid, just on your pocket. Also remember to buy some fake designer stuff. Yeah, people love fake fake markets. So yeah, there we go, another batch of prints coming out. Tell me if this is too distracting and I'll stop, but I think it's pretty distracting. This was the Intrepid team, which is affected by the light source I'm using. Max, Gemma, James, and Hugo. I think they've grown in team, but these were the 4 that were there when I went. This is shot on an Intrepid 8x10 production run, like one of them. Which had a slight changes after this, and a 180mm Fuji lens there. Maybe you can see a little better. And as you can see, it covers. I totally cut off their feet. I was kind of in a rush. My main problem shooting the Intrepid team was, as you all know, they had this massive task of building these cameras and a huge backlog. And I think when I asked everyone, like, hey, what do you want me to ask Intrepid? Everyone, like, the most answered, or the most commented thing was, don't distract them. So I try not to distract them. So yeah, let's see. Oops, sorry. How says, nope, really like to look at your prints. I've been trying to do the best I can on these prints, but considering the amount of time that I've had to make them and how long I've made you guys wait, including Hal, which was one of the super backers on the project, so thank you, Hal. Your support is very much appreciated. I been doing, basically coming to the point that better done than almost done, because I could have reprinted 100 times the same prints. So they'll be as good as possible, but they could probably be better. So if someone gets a print and is like, Nico, this is horrible, which I don't think they're horrible, you guys can ask me and I'll reprint them better. Just so you know. This is actually a print I really enjoy. Let's see, Leighton says, I have to admit it, I take my prints to a framing place who laser cut the mat and then mount and can frame. The cost is not much and it's not worth the hassle to do it yourself. Perfection is the enemy of done. I'm pretty much that kind of person. So yeah, this is an 8x10, also shot with a 180. Actually, Max had this 180 laying around the Fuji non lens, which has the inner letters, And this is a macro shot. I think it was a minute exposure. And you can't see it, but it's not tack sharp all around, but it's pretty sharp. I think I shot at f64, so that's to show you what you can do with 8x10. It's pretty cool, this image. I like it. I think not a lot of people chose it as a prize, but it's fine. I'm still going to have them available in the store. It's kind of a little behind the scenes. We've all seen this kind of shot of like the Linhof factories and the Rolleiflex factories. And considering that nowadays there's nothing like it, or Linhof's still around, don't get me wrong. And Rolleiflex is supposedly coming back with a Mint camera. But I think it's part of history to see what cameras were made in 2017, 2018. So that's why I started the photo series. And that was all thanks to Stuart, who is here and mentioned it on a live stream and basically put me in the spot to start. And I haven't launched the next one, mostly because I still want to finish the prints and then launch a second one. I don't want to be called, you know, out for not finishing the first one. So that's why it's still not done. The next one, I don't know yet where it will be, but we'll see. Stuart says, do you sign your prints front or back? Back would be nice. Yeah, the idea is these are going to be, I guess, kind of limited edition prints. My idea was to make 15 of each of the Kickstarter rewards and first ship all the Kickstarter rewards and all the backers. Some people also backed me out of the project, like Stuart and Jim Anderson from the States. And I'm going to ship those. And once those are shipped, I'll update the website with how many are left to be able to purchase if someone decides to purchase out of the Kickstarter. But yeah, they're going to be signed, mostly just to kind of like give it a little piece of history, and they'll probably go with a personal letter to each person thanking them for the support. And hopefully once that's done, I'll be able to start a new photo story, which I'm still very much split which one I want to do next, because I want to do with the photo stories. It's not that I don't want to report about every single person making something in the film industry nowadays, which I would love to be able to do. But the thing is, as I'm asking for private support from you guys, the YouTube watchers, subscribers, and people there, I want to do it both interesting and something that's a bit of a novelty. So Intrepid, I thought was interesting and a bit of a novelty. A lot of people have backed or done a bit of information on Ilford, which I want to do, but maybe not next, because I feel Ilford's a pretty big player in the game. And then, you know, I want to try to see if I can do a few different ones before and then go to Ilford. Kodak seems to be having open doors nowadays, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, we'll see how we can do that. It's just the US is a little far away from where I live, but I have to try. Sorry, I read a few comments that I couldn't read. Let's see. Nico, you need to do a video showing your photography books. I do want to show my photography books. I have a few books lining up, which are actually downstairs waiting to be shown here, shared here, as the kind of like the video I did on the old format zine. I want to do a few more. And I bought like 3 or 4 books, and I've been sent one from a magazine, which is actually pretty interesting, but I haven't had the time yet. But I'm catching up slowly. I should be back to doing a lot more videos soon. Fabricio Jimenez says, kind of new to the channel and loving it. I love film and all you bring to the film community. Cheers from Costa Rica. Fabricio, thanks, man. It's great to see someone from Costa Rica. Cheers from Spain. So, yeah, it's basically, I try to do all I can to help. That's basically what I try to do with this YouTube channel. Sometimes I do good and sometimes I do worse. Sometimes I say Leica, which is how you say it in Spanish. Sometimes I say Leica, like they say it in German and English. That's always been a video that people love to point out. So yeah, a lot of these. And now let me see. Also, I'll be doing, for the people that back the project, some people wanted postcards. So let me show you these because these don't need ironing. These are postcards from Ilford. As you can see, they're pretty flat. Let me see if you can see that with the exposure. So Ilford sells this postcard. I read it the other way around, but it says postcard. It has like the letters, the space for the stamp, and on the inside it's photo paper. And this is James, which actually from Intrepid, which actually it was his idea for me to get on the table and shoot from the top. So I didn't stop him working. He was working all the time. And the exposure I think was like 1 second. So I actually told him like, wait, and shot that one shot at 1 second. He's adding the little side mounts, which the little angles though, 90-degree angles to the front standard. These are 3D printed in batches of like 50 or something like that. And then they're sanded down and screwed onto the front standard. So this is what he's doing here. They set it up and they have these little hanging drills that they drill down. So this is the picture. This is one of the postcards you'll be getting. Of course, the postcards will be signed and with a little, you know, love note from Nico. And hopefully I'll have these shipped very, very, very soon. These should be shipping already. But a lot of people back that had more than just the postcard. So I got to flatten the prints. Then we have, let me see. These are all postcards, just so you can see. And wait, there's more here. We've got these and these. And these. So probably around 50 postcards that are printed, all Darkroom printed. You can see that's Aslan from Negative Feedback. James again. Let me see if I have a different shot. This is the travel wide, which the exposure looks off, but it's not. And I made a few of the travel wide because I wanted to do a giveaway and a review of the travel wide. So I printed a few of those. Let me see, is there any other shot? Yeah, there's also this. This was shot on the travel wide on my 365, which lasted like a month, but I did shoot 360 something pictures. But this is a travel wide Fomapan 400 push 2 stops to 1600 contact printed onto this. There's texture there on the white wall. It's just, you know, YouTube and video cameras are not showing probably. But yeah, there's a big stack of postcards that will be available after the Kickstarter and stuff. So these will be online to ship. Real made in the darkroom. Nothing inkjet, no river, paper, print, whatever, Hanamule stuff. This is the real deal, handmade, which they take a while to make. So I hope whoever does get them appreciates them. And if not, I just have a bunch of postcards. I'll put them in the back here. No big issue. I actually have to buy more postcard paper because I ran out. But it's not too expensive and it's a nice detail. I've done it for Christmas cards and stuff like that back in the day. Pictures of the kids. I ship them to Miami and ship them around. And people really appreciate the whole handmade. And they hold up pretty well over time. Layton said FOMA would be a good one to do a photo story. FOMA is actually one that I really want to visit for so many reasons. It's getting hot with the press. Mostly that Fomapan, I think, is one of those brands of film and paper that is quality-wise and price-wise probably the best one right now. Ilford, I love Ilford. I use Ilford products and papers. All this is printed on Ilford warm tone fiber-based paper. But Ilford is slowly upping the price, and there's a bit more space between Ilford and FOMA now than before, and still FOMA still has pretty good quality to it. So that's why I want to see if I can visit FOMA and see what they're doing and see how it goes. Layton, some support for the studio. Come on, people, that place costs money. Yeah, the studio, thanks, Layton. I really appreciate the support. Actually, after I made the news yesterday and talked about the Patreon, I've had support from 2 people, so that's really nice. I really, really appreciate when that happens. I understand that, you know, It's not easy. I'm the first one that understands that. At the end, it becomes like a Netflix or HBO account that you support. But this is just a smaller one-man team. But yeah, the studio is slowly working out. Workshops and stuff are happening. I'm going to Barcelona in, how would I say, in 2 weeks, basically, not this weekend, next weekend, to give a workshop and stuff like that. And we'll see. But I'm extremely happy that I have a space where I can share with you guys. I can share for whatever person comes in. I have, you know, all the space available. It makes a huge difference when you have a place where you can create and not just have to set up and unset every time. And knowing how film is and how people's darkrooms have been throughout history, I think a lot of people understand what it is to have a bathroom darkroom, which you have to break down every time. So yeah, thanks, Leighton. I really appreciate it. Okay, we're like a third maybe done with the prints, and we've done 31 minutes of live stream. So, but look at this curl. Like, how do you flatten that? This is the first Intrepid camera that started it all. And this print actually looks darker in real life than it looks in the image. These I might reprint because I don't like how they look. They look a little too dark. I don't know if you can see it. I think there's too much light and it looks good. Or I might try to like do some farmer reducer and get those whites out. Because the print looks good, it's just the whites are a little washed off. Dry down on the warm tone is kind of a pain. Sometimes works on your favor, sometimes not. Oh, Leighton says, I would love to have a studio space like that. I have a full-time darkroom, but not that size. That's a great print. Thank you, Leighton. Actually, the darkroom has become increasingly small, which that might be a little cheeky to say, but when I did build it, I thought it was going to be huge. And the moment you start putting things in, you start realizing how small things become. It's like when you move to a new home and you see the sitting room and it looks huge, and then you start putting a sofa and a desk or a table and a chair and another little something and a TV, and that suddenly your sitting room becomes like super small. Well, this studio is awesome, but the darkroom is starting to look smaller. Let me see. How says 5 hours of working in the darkroom, 1 hour for setting up and breaking down every time I print at home. Yeah, how I really understand what that is like. If you ever come to Spain, how I remember you can use my darkroom anytime you want. Same goes with Leighton or anyone else. Like someone said, which I thought was really fun, is mi casa is tu casa, which means my home is your home. So anyone that wants to come and print or develop or whatever, I'm happy to help. Actually getting a visit this Saturday from a friend to, how do you say, to shoot and share. I'll hopefully make maybe a video. He's got a few awkward lenses that I don't own, so maybe I'll try to do something with him. Let's see. Leighton, I have to admit, I started to microwave my work prints to force the dry down. My wife is not keen on me doing that though. I use blow dryer to dry them up as fast as possible, but I think it's not enough to really show the full effect of dry down. So I might have to bring in a microwave and do that. I've heard it's not a big issue to do it. I would probably bring a microwave that would only work for that, unless I feel like having lunch here, which I usually don't as I live down the road. But sometimes you need to eat. These prints are like Pringles. Just come out so non-flat. We'll keep on going. Let's see. Nick says, I heard Ansel used to do that. And I'm lost with exactly what Ansel did. Maybe share his darkroom. That would be nice to know that he shared. Robin, I will drop at this point. At one point for sure, I have no idea about printing though. Well, Robin, come over and we can do a printing session and shoot, print, and stuff. Plus, I've always said, and anyone that comes, they can shoot whatever they feel like. They can shoot 11 by 14, 8 by 10, 4 by 5, medium format, anything like that that I have. You guys can use. It's not a problem. I have film for every single camera, so, and I'm always excited to use my camera, so that's basically, I think I get more happy to shoot when people come over than they do, because I never have a real good excuse to shoot, unless I'm on a project or something. So yeah, 11 by 14, medium format, large format, Leica cameras, different stuff. I'm always happy to share. So if you guys come, Robin being in Germany, it's easier, but you guys can always stay around. Let me see. Leighton says, use 25-second burst until drying, not set on fire. Okay, I will do. Ansel used the microwave to dry set test prints. Real Sir Robin says, thumbs up to coming over. If anyone in Scotland, I can give you a workshop on printing. That's something that's awesome about the community, is the fact that people are willing to help. I take it as the fact that we are less and less every day, sort of. So I think it's always nice to share as much as possible. So I'm never gonna not let people come over and visit. Plus, shooting any camera, whatever, here with me wouldn't cost unless you want to shoot a lot of film. So it would be on me to shoot and develop. Last time someone came over, we shot 8 by 10 slide film. So I got uber excited about that. And it came out pretty cool, and it was expired stuff. You can't see, but just next to me is a huge fridge full of film. And until that runs out, open doors. So yeah, let's see. I'm doing well with battery. Let me guys know if you guys still can see it. Leighton says, or Stuart says, we're in Scotland. I'm in Broome, and Leighton's in Fife. Fife? Fife? I wish I knew how to pronounce that. But yeah. Second round of flattening. This is so boring. The flattening part, I mean. So yeah, to say, I was talking about the Patreon, I think I said on the news, but just to give you guys a bit of a heads up on what's going to be happening there, I'm going to try to write it as a blog, try to keep up there and tell you guys what I've been doing, what's happening with prints, with videos, with behind the scenes and stuff. One of the things that I shared the other day is what I took to the wedding in Switzerland, in Geneva, and why. And it's a little bit of a backstory of why I shot what I shot. I shot 35 millimeters, but I did not take a Leica body. I took a Zeiss body, and that is because of the 1/2000th of a second, and because I was shooting the T-Max 3200 in daylight and in basically nightlight. So you can read a bit more there. I'll be sharing probably on the Patreon blog. I'll share all the images that come out, and then if I do a video, which I will do a video, I'll share some of the best, but you can't always put everything on videos, and I'll be sharing more there to give a little bit more to you guys, kind of like a way to show more stuff. And another thing that happens is I do photography work or photography things every single day. Either it's finding prints, developing film, loading film, shooting, prepping, stuff like that. And I always snap shots with my phone, and I share it usually with friends through WhatsApp and stuff like that here in Spain. But I think having that media already, it's pretty easy to share it as a blog there, and you guys can see more. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. But the videos are not going to stop. I'm going to still do the YouTube channel. I'm going to still do the news. I'm going to still do the live streams. and more videos. I have some more large format videos coming up soon. I have some more, you know, review-ish or first hands on different cameras. Just as soon as I settle a little bit from the few trips I've had lately. Plus shipping this Kickstarter Rewards is going to give me a lot of peace of mind. I don't imagine how happy I am to be flattening prints, even though they don't look flat. But they'll flatten out. I think shipping them in a cardboard hard box will help them. But these is how they look after 2 presses. This is how they look before any press. So there's an improvement, slowly. And then when you sell them for a while, this is how they look. So they do kind of get better after a while. Okay, any questions, guys? So I can keep on talking about crazy stuff for a while. Stuart, when you say Broome, do you mean Birmingham? That is a way away. Let me see. I'm losing track on the amount of time I'm pressing every single picture. But yeah. This thing gets, if you guys are curious, I don't know what the real technique to do this kind of stuff is. But this, I do at 100 degrees for around 30 seconds, 2 times in a row. So one, then let it cool down, then another one. Cody Tarts says, any experience with burger pancro? No, I still haven't shot any burger. And the real reason is that the seller that sells it in Spain is not exactly my chosen store. And the guy I buy my film from can't get it because that store that does sell it won't sell it to anyone else. Or at least is not an easy guy to deal with. So I usually don't buy my film from Germany or Mako Direct or Photo MX, mostly because I try to support local. And the price here in Spain for my local film supplier is not that bad. And not being able to get burger from the store I like or I choose has made me not shoot it yet. I've heard it's pretty amazing. And hopefully one day I can get hold of it without having to go through stores I'm not exactly fond of. But meanwhile, I haven't. So sorry, guys. Stuart says Birmingham. Sorry for my pronunciation. I've been a few times to Edinburgh. C5th is just north of cool. I'm from Broomsgrove. Let me know when you are in Edinburgh, and I shoot all my street stuff there. Oh, I did see that, Stuart. Whoops, sorry. Lomography came out with the f² 400 color negative in 120. And this film was supposed to be some aged film that was only going to come in 35 as far as I know. And had a limited supply. But somehow they've come out with some f² 400 in 120. So I saw it today, and I actually have a screenshot to talk about it in the news. But considering the news were yesterday, it was going to take a week or so. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they come out with. I've actually never ordered Lomography film, mostly because I'm not one of those people that loves testing different emulsions all the time. So I haven't, but the colors do look interesting, at least on the 120 version. The 435 was a little too funky for my taste. Or Alex CMS 20 apparently has crazy resolution. Nope, haven't tested Adox. Let me see. Michael, I hope you are well. I would like to ask you if you're connected to Chamonix cameras in Spain. I have been trying to get a hold of Chamonix film holders, but they do not offer shipping to France. Michael, I do have a connection with Chamonix in Spain. If you need anything, send me an email. My email is Nico's Photography Show altogether. So Nico and then the S, Photography Show at Gmail. And I'll try to help you out. For sure I can get you some film holders shipped to France. That should not be an issue. Ernie says, I'm planning to order Poly 6x14 this week. I'll share initial results once I have a chance if you're interested. Yes, I would be very interested to hear about it. A friend and supporter of the channel, Hogarth, which is, I think, not here right now, also was going to get his hands on one because he is local to Pali. Pali, if you don't know, is a guy that's making a 3D printed 6x14 camera, but also built his own 11x14 camera, which is pretty impressive endeavor. And I think he even made his own film holders. So, you know, hats off to him for doing something like that. The camera looks pretty cool, and it's functional, which is a great thing to see. Michael says, okay, thanks so much. Much appreciated. Yeah, Michael, let me know. If you can't get my email, you can contact me on Facebook or anything like that under Nicolas Yacera. So Nicholas without the H. Yacera is Lasera. YouTube has announced that they're taking away private messaging because a lot of people weren't using it. I do know a few of you have used it before, so be aware if you ever want to try to contact me through there. They're taking it off soon. Supposedly a lot of people, most people weren't using that. So we'll see. But the best way to contact me is through my website, which is linked at the bottom of every single YouTube video. And there at the bottom, you can, on the website, you can do the contact form and write me. The whole website's in English, except for a few little things in Spanish. So it's fairly easy to get hold of me. And if I take a while, you can insist. I'm not one of those people that gets picky because you insist. It takes time sometimes to get through emails. So many prints to flatten. Still have 2 huge piles. There's shots here that I can't remember taking. Oh, that's the same one. Okay. Just a lot of the same. Let me see. Michael says, don't worry, Nico. I have all your contact details. Great. I'll be expecting something. And if not, I'll try to find you, Michael. Okay. And next. Okay. I wish this camera was a bit wider. Maybe I should try to place it like there next time so you guys can see what I'm doing. Because it feels awfully awkward that you guys can't really see much. Whoa. Sorry for that. Let me see. Yeah, you can't really see what I'm doing. Just moving prints from one side to the other. But yeah, we will see how things go. I'm excited. This weekend, I'll be developing the rest of the 11x14 shots and hopefully being able to do some contact prints, maybe. I'll be developing the pictures from the T-Max 3200 and I'm sending those off to a friend with a pack-on scanner so he can scan them as fast as possible and I can share them with the newlyweds. And then I'm going to be printing a few and sharing with you guys on a YouTube video. I didn't record anything during the wedding or anything like that, but I'll give my first impressions of the T-Max 3200 and the developer I used and how I developed it and how I shot it and how I exposed it. That way I can share. Layton says, last week I was interviewed for a podcast. Don't mean to advertise on your channel, but maybe someone would like to listen. Sure, not sure how good it is though. First part is out now. Layton, you can advertise, no problem. I don't mind at all. I think the more we all share, the better. That's why I try talk about other YouTubers as much as I can when I think something's worth saying. Thanks to Robin, who talked about my channel. I got a hike in subscribers at some point, and it was very, very nice of him to do that. So I would never think it's wrong to advertise. If you told me that every single video you came in and advertised, I'd be like, maybe you should find a different way to advertise. But once in a blue moon, it's totally fine with me. Especially if it's something like that, like a podcast is awesome. Andrew says, really enjoy the channel, Nico, and just signed up as a Patreon. Oh, thanks, Andrew. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Andrew. Much appreciated. And hope you enjoy the Patreon as much as the channel. It really took me a while to figure out. I think it still will take me a while. Here's a link to it on my website. Well, Layton knows how to do all the tricks to get the things on the comments, because YouTube won't let you guys put .coms. As he said, take out the space. I'll read it out loud so people can also find it. But yeah, what was I going to say? What happened, the reason I changed my Patreon, which is actually, I think, kind of a funny coincidence. At the wedding I went to, it was a girlfriend who was a photographer, or at least was a photographer. She shot for like different news agencies and went to different places and did stuff like that. And it happens to be that her father is a huge photography fan. He has collector, he's got 8x10s, he's got Ebony 8x10, he's got a Linhof 8x10, he's got all kinds of cameras. And when he saw me at the wedding, there was no official photographer, and I was there with my Zeiss Icon with my Leica 35 Summicron lens, shooting all around, because they knew I would do that, so it wasn't a problem. I always ask, if I ever go to a wedding and there's a photographer, I always ask them if it's okay, and I stay very much out of their way. Usually take a little longer lens, maybe a 50 or a 90, which I don't own anymore. And so he saw me shooting back and forth and doing stuff, and he's very passionate about photography. And he told me, so he said, hey Nico, I want to follow your work. And I said, well, you can watch YouTube channels, you know, and you can see my 8x10 prints on the live stream on Wednesdays. And the guy was like, you know, he's like a broker on like money stuff, and he doesn't have all the time in the world to go on YouTube. So he told me he wasn't much of a YouTube viewer. And I said, well, you can, you know, support me through Patreon, and there's information there too. But he told me like, oh, so what do I get in exchange for Patreon? And I was like, okay, well, some people get prints. Some people get the fact that they know they're helping out the channel. And some people get other things, but mostly just a few prints and support and a thank you. So suddenly I thought, well, that doesn't sound like the most appealing thing to get. I know the prints are fun to get, and knowing that you're supporting a creator is always nice. But I thought, what would be a great way to show like-minded people kind of like the path, what I'm up to, what I'm not up to, what I'm doing, and why I'm doing it. And I thought that would be great to do like a blog. And I thought, why not make Patreon like a blog for a very small fee? You know, you guys get to read, know that you support the channel on YouTube, but get to see a lot more behind the scenes. And that's why I changed my philosophy, or started doing Patreon a little different. And I think that's what I'm going to stick to, because I think it's fun. It's fairly simple to do a blog post every now and then. I've actually done like one a day since I started. I try to give the news before the news are out. I try to let you guys know before the live stream's out. I try to I will be sharing behind the scenes and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something that I'm planning on doing. So look, this is a shot that's actually not mine, but this is shot. It was done in a lab workshop, and the student brought Ilford XP2, which is one of those films that I've never tried, because I always thought it would looked, or like the whole idea of a C41 black and white film sounded terrible. And I've seen the negatives before, and they're like, oh, this weird purple pinkish hue. You can see it actually here. It says Ilford XP2. So I was very reluctant to print it. I was like, okay, well, if that's what you want to print, we'll print it. We put it through the enlarger. We did a first test print and then made a first base print. And I have to say, this film looks amazing on paper. The quality of it, the tones, we did a little burning here on the window light because there was no detail on this wall. And that's about all we did to the print. And there's extreme sun. You probably can't see it, but you can see the texture on that white handrail. And this wall, let me see if my phone can focus. That wall has texture, but then there's dark areas, as you can see, where there's perfectly fine detail. I mean, perfect. I wish this sign here wasn't there. This was shot on XP2 film from Ilford, developed in, I think, D76 by him. And this was printed on Ilford warm-toned fiber-based paper. And this was, let me see, I was forgetting something important to say. Oh, Fuji GF670, the folder modern-ish Fuji camera, 6x7. Amazing film, amazing. A lot of people ignore it. I'm gonna try to start doing more of this. I found this film to be amazing, so yeah. And then the guy brought a snow print, and this, I've never printed snow before, so it felt like, I don't know, it was a bit of a test to see how much we could get out of the print. So it was a snow day, and this was shot on a Leica MP, I think with a 50 Summicron or a 35, I think a 50. And film is probably Tri-X, can't see any marks. But to get the snow to look white and not mushy, and get the blacks to look black and not mushy, it was a pretty big challenge. And this is a test strip, by the way. I'm not that bad at printing. The final print, I think, is around here. Not there. Let me see if I can find it. Final print is... I'm going, guys. Okay, so first print... Sorry, I'm not reading any of the comments. Yeah, the XP2 is great. I deal with are huge fans and have used tons of different black and white stocks. Andrew, good to know. Do you have a store or something like that? You say you deal, a lot of people you deal with, or you have a lab or something? Shoot it down to ISO 25 and it still looks great. XP2 is now my only black and white 120 film in C41. Agree with the look. Yeah, I am very surprised. So this is the first print that came out, and the snow looked mushy. So I was like, okay, this thing can get more. So what happens is, yeah, I have an online store. Don't know. Oh, Buy Film Canada. Hey, Andrew, we've talked before. Didn't know it was you. Thanks for all the follows and stuff. But yeah, this looked all mushy. So we went for split grading. And split grading, if you don't know what it is you expose to a test print at 0,0 filter. So basically, you bring out the highlights. And then you do, on top of that test print, that you've chosen a specific tone for the white, you go for, or the highlights, you go for 5 filter, or the hardest filter, to get the blacks out. And this print was doing a normal print with, I think, a 2.5 filter. It doesn't look that bad, but actually, if you look it up close, it was mushy. So this was what came out after split grade. Let's see if you can see. My phone just exposes it the same way. Let me see. This one looks much better. Snow's white. It has some gray in it because, of course, it's stepped on. The trees and everything have dark values. There's detail. looks grayish. So yeah, just to show you what split grading can do on YouTube Live, and I hope you guys see something, but you can tell the difference. This one is a little mushier. This one has a bit more contrast to it. So yeah, that's to show you sometimes it's great to do split grade. I don't always split grade most of the time, but I almost feel like I should always split grade. So I'm turning off the press. It's, I think, 10 o'clock right now. Let me see, guys. Yeah, 10 o'clock. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this newish style live stream. I will be coming back to the Darkroom. I will be coming back to the studio. I'll be setting this thing in different places and showing you guys around, answering different questions. I'll do it downstairs too because I have a ton of material there that I can show you guys if you guys are curious and seeing size differences between cameras, the lenses, stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for all your time, guys, and your questions and your support. Leighton, thank you for the little donation for the studio. Means a lot. And we'll see each other next week if I'm not out of data on my phone. And have a good one. And remember, you can ask me anything you want through social media and email and whatnot. And those who have joined Patreon, you'll see more of me from here till next week. And those who not, you'll probably see something around. Thank you very much and see you later. Good night.